It works. It is sending the data. But am I actually live? It says making an outmesh. It says waiting for week 7. It says XD. Okay, it works. But am I actually... Oh, it still says making an outmesh. That sucks. Can I change that? Add a video. This is really a broadcast, not a video, but whatever. Hope it works. Although my title today is not very much about anything, but I don't think the stream will be about anything really. Because I'm gonna do web dev, I'm gonna do CMBW, and maybe like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Although web dev is something I'll start with, and we'll see if I even can do CMBW. Because there are some bug fixes that are they're a bit hard nuts to crack because they are one is not research and the second one is just involved. So okay, let's set us up. I would really want this whole website to be cleaner because it has 1,000 exactly 1,000 line of CSS code and that shouldn't be it. Should I be doing cleanup? This looks like something I could just move here. Is this necessary? It's kind of stupid. What is the default though? H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H5, H6. What are the default sizes? Is it described anywhere? Don't think it is. Well, let's see what we get if I just comment those. It's incredibly inaccurate then. Do we even use H6s? Hmm. Honestly, I feel like factions should be here instead of here. just close orders here. Hmm. I'm not sure how to tackle the layout of this. So maybe I move those tabs above Terran and Terran, I make Terran the panel, right? That would make some sense. Well, let's not worry about any end. Let's worry about adding that here. No, really, it can be just default. You. Hi. You actually. I'll just stream my first screen to you as well. So I was wondering how we want to lay out this. I was thinking that moving those tabs above Terran and making Terran its own panel would probably make the most sense. Like positionality.
It doesn't make sense because cornerstones are completely identical regardless of faction. They'll never be separate. So everything. The only
why
thing that
would
changes
where
is
would
the
you
texture.
want the faction description then?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that would be something that gets hovered over. Like when you mouse over it, it tells you a brief period. I mean, we have dedicated pages or sections for the faction descriptions already on the website, but they're not like data driven, right? They're just text. So let me go and see.
I guess we could have a tooltip and then like a redirect link as a part of the button or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure because
so redirect icon. Not exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah, you're probably thinking of just like the embed or like the attachment icon in an email or something.
Because that could work.
Yeah, the one where the two paper clips are. It's like a chain link. I don't know. That's the hyperlink icon in general on forum posts.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's like hyperlink in forum posts and stuff. So I don't really know. Like maybe we just have a link to the factions or something. Like they're not separate entries.
Oh, this actually is even better. Even more what I had in mind.
There you go.
Good to know.
Link. Yeah, so if you go to this website, you'll see that it's fairly. If you scroll down, you'll eventually see the factions section, and it's just some bullet points. Like it doesn't really give you any useful info. So The thing I was thinking of when I said that there could be improvements with factions is that it would be nice to be able to look at the unit. Like for one, it says not available in. It should say not available for or available for or whatever.
Oh yeah, I was
So
something
there's
to
that,
improve.
and then on the page itself, being able to say like, yeah, so it says only available in instead of for, so stuff like that. But then being able to move that somewhere other than the stats panel. You were saying that if we move it to be above created from, that makes it somehow break visual hierarchy. But in my mind, it's actually really good to be above the stats because
Yeah,
it
what
being part of this
was it was
faction.
like. When can I open this in some? I guess I can probably use this. It was like here, right? Good work.
That's what I was suggesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I was originally thinking that you wanted it here or something. Oh,
Well,
you proposed it around the enabled in, I think, but that was the second suggestion, right?
no, I suggested it be above created from. Created
Yeah,
from
that's fine.
/ enabled from, which is the same area, right? So the reason it would be there is because it first you must have this, you must be this faction, then you
Is this
must have this
visible
unit.
even?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, it's also visible on stream. Great. So the reason this actually works fine because this is like the first hierarchy or whatever, and then this is like the sub
Yeah,
hierarchy
we
here.
might
So
even want a line
it
between
works.
them or something, but it's probably not that necessary. Like you already have the
Yeah,
horizontal
right, like
separated.
this.
You could do that for added benefit. I don't know if it would be too much or what.
I feel like 2 lines here might be too much, yeah, but could experiment with that as well.
Yeah. We might want to make it a slightly more larger indent or something if we're going to have factions, because the faction list is, I mean, for example, the Goliath is not available in 2 factions, right? So
Oop.
owned.
Oh yeah, I know why.
I think
It
you
was
were
because I
unfinished.
updated this.
Yeah, you were
Action
unfinished
buttons.
describing that. Yeah, because I don't really think we need the factions as a data-driven element. I mean, if you can think of a place to play, like display information about the factions that works well without going like, I mean, I think I was telling you this before, but cornerstones being not collapsible, it looks good, but if like after a certain point, you might want to just like ignore it, right, or whatever. So I don't know how to feel about that. Like, it almost feels like that should be, you know how certain websites will have elements that stay with the page while you scroll.
Yeah, sticky.
Yeah, it almost feels like maybe the tabs for factions and the like a minimized version of the cornerstones or whatever should stick with you that way. But I'm not sure if it matters. Like, first we would need to make cornerstones collapsible to begin with, and then we could maybe talk about that. But that's something that just occurred to me. Alternatively, you could put cornerstones. Like, I like the fact that they're front and center right after the race name and description. So that part is pretty neat. But I also wonder if we shouldn't have the dark panel that's behind the cornerstones. Like, cornerstones are in a panel. I wonder if maybe we should extend that to where it says Terran and their description, and then just have a horizontal line separating it. So that might be
I need to
useful.
find a working website for that. Okay, so you say for the cornerstones panel?
Yeah, extending the top of the panel to encompass the Terran name
Yeah, that
and
is
description.
something I thought
I
of.
think
I
at this
also thought that
point,
maybe it would be yet another panel because the style of this website is that we have those like sub panels and they have like spacing in between them as like a
yeah,
hierarchy
I mean, it
feature.
could be that, but it almost feels like if the cornerstones are meant to encompass every faction and like be very influential, there's something to be said about linking them hierarchically, so that they are part of the same panel. But I also wouldn't mind if it was a separate panel. I'm just throwing out ideas there. If we decide
I
to make
guess
it a
what we
separate
could
panel,
do
the
is
horizontal line should be separating Terran and the description. Otherwise, if they're the same panel, you would have a horizontal line between the description and cornerstones.
the reason I didn't do the horizontal line so far is because it would be very long and would look really bad. So I'd have to like constrain it somewhat somehow. Just didn't bother with that again. But what I think we could do is make this one panel like you're saying, and make this actually like a sub panel thing with like an outline or something. So it would be
Potentially,
inside
yeah,
of the Terran panel.
to draw focus. It could
Yeah.
be a thing. I'm still not sure about the big cornerstones header being italic, but for now, it's not. I mean, it's not really that offensive. It's just I'm not sure if I like it.
Is
But
there like another style you'd have in mind? I thought it
well,
worked out, but
it just being well, it being italic does communicate that it's something different, but I don't know if it's necessary considering we already have the rest of the panel and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. That's probably splitting hairs, but sometimes you get very particular about this shit. I personally am in a spot where I don't really mind if we similar to what I was talking about in the Anti-Cathera channel about like, oh, I don't really care too much about getting it perfect the first way through. I would just gotta iterate on a solution. I'm not really that.
yeah,
asked
I
about it.
think that's really a good approach because that really highlights what's the problem, right?
Yeah. Well, it allows you to. You're basically not doing too much. I forget what you called it earlier, some time ago, but it's like pre-designing stuff. You have this presumption of what the problem is, and then you find out actually it's something else.
Hmm.
And that makes you look a little silly for trying to focus so heavily on it. So.
Probably would have same design up front or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what
I
I don't know what term you would use for that exactly. I just know that it's like pre-planning or pre-designing or whatever. Like in
top-down
programming.
design too.
Yeah, that might have been what I'm thinking of. In programming, I just know that there's like a whole school of thought where they're like, yeah, you got to do a layout of your program.
UML diagrams. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah, there you
Casey
go.
who just like does it the right way and it always works out the best way. Or Jonathan Blow. Right? I was actually watching a lot of Jonathan making Alexa, which is very on topic because I was doing Alexa very recently.
Yep. Yeah,
so,
yeah, for Kairos.
Yeah. It was nice to see him talk about that and reflect.
Yeah, it's I imagine it's good just instruction or whatever. And not only that, but you also have the whole
I felt very familiar and like he almost perfectly reflected what I actually thought when I was doing it. So he was like saying like, oh, this design is really sensible and it like simplifies this, but this like syntax tree design is like it is good design, but we would rather have something else. But there's isn't anything else, and I was thinking the same thing because trees are very inefficient in programming, but it's the best abstraction we have for expressing syntax. So.
Right.
It was interesting to see him have similar thoughts, and he's obviously way more experienced than I am in compilers, right? It was my first actual compiler, and it's also like not really a compiler because it's bytecode, but whatever. It's similar enough. So now it's wrap. So wait, argument 1 string utils 99. I called from codify get field function name. The description needs to be like this for sure, but I was thinking I might want to use like what I learned in Lexing to make def files more structured. Where instead of like writing a unit and a column of related things, you would actually have like scoping and stuff. I thought it might be useful to do.
Is there could you give me an example use case of what you mean by scoping? Because I feel like that could mean a couple different things.
Well, as an abstract concept, it just means that you would have braces, right? So if you would have like a unit Maverick, right, you would just say this, and then you would say HP 100.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
And then
then you could
maybe
have
what
scopes
we can
within
even
if
say
necessary.
is like weapon, and define the weapon in line, which would be like name.
Well, that would
the
remove
gun
the
or
need
something.
for a separate file, which would definitely make refactoring easier.
And I
But
think I would want to support defining weapons anywhere too, if I wanted to. So like say the gun here, and you would either say like weapon begun or have it inline. And the only reason we would want to support that is if you wanted to use the same weapon in two places at once, right?
sure, yeah.
But I was thinking about this today, and I feel like it would make a lot of sense and would make the process of defining stuff more sensible to work with. Would probably also give us better errors, which were always a problem. And with the dev files, right?
I think they got pretty reasonable after a while, but yeah, if it makes it easier to.
Yeah, we cut the
yeah.
common problems, but I'm certain that some like more niche ones are still hard to track. Utils table 248.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here trying my best to not accidentally make stupid in SEM drafts, so you know it's going well.
You're working on a campaign map or something?
Yep.
Epic.
I was thinking about this earlier today, and I feel like as much as I don't generally and broadly recommend the inconsummate release style, where you, in that case, I made half the campaign and then like the missions weren't fully operational or final, and but I still released it in that state and then finished it and continued to update it or whatever. Like it creates this weird thing where like the first time through, if you play it out the mission at launch, it might be very different, or you might have a bug or something that doesn't get resolved until later. But the reason why I feel like that makes sense in this context is I'm splitting my attention between, you know, working on CBW in general, working on our game, working with you on like figuring out some stuff about Antikythera and the website, and all the other things I'm doing, right? Like working specifically on a campaign, and then working specifically on like my other stuff that I do between casting and my day job and stuff. It's like, yeah, it might be more reasonable to just release something when one version of it is available or whatever, you know.
Yeah, right.
So we'll see, but I might decide to go for that angle instead of infinitely delaying.
Well, I feel like the biggest advantage is that you don't have to exactly wait until it's like finished, and the problem with finish is that you will want to polish it, and it might
yeah, well,
take
I
further.
can continue to polish it. I mean, like another thing that I was worried about a little bit when I was thinking about and envisioning what the product looked like if it came out map by map is there would be the concern that you would go through and destroy the expectations because some update happens and now like this race is balanced differently or something, you know, and then suddenly this mission is easier or harder, right? It's going back to like the finish your game episode that we did at the Crow's Nest. And it's like, yeah, it would be great if that didn't happen, but I don't think it's going to matter. Like, I'm probably not going to have the full, like the entire tech tree fully implemented and balanced out and ready and done. Like, I can just decide, okay, I'm no longer balancing it or no longer spending any time on it, I guess. But it's very unlikely that I'd reach the final position of that by the time the campaign was fully done, regardless. So, like, when you think about it like that, it's not really sensible to be like, oh, I don't want to release it earlier because it won't be done, and then the fucking an update will come out and it'll make the game, like the campaign, harder or easier. It's like, yeah, that was probably going to happen anyway, though. So I don't know if it's valuable to delay it based on that.
Right.
doing all of this urban insanity right now, though, and can't wait for fucking my level design stuff in Antikythera. It was just so like there are some usability issues with like the ISOM reimplementation or whatever, but it was way fucking more appreciated, way more sensible.
Something is happening here now. Just wrong.
Getting web dev'd, dude. Getting tickled.
Probably because of Rob Tooltip. One problem with not working in a codebase too often is that it rots. Like you don't maintain it, and some decisions just need to be reconsidered.
Was there something in particular that made you think of that?
Yeah, the whole CSS file is garbage.
Classic.
It's hard to work with. I think I've been able to clean up a bit of the PHP side of it recently, especially in the unit table file.
Wait a second.
Like Olive Ford.
You can't Alt F4.
That's what I do in Broadware when something doesn't work.
Yeah, Broodwar confirms your decisions. Browsers do not, unless you keep enabling them. It's so confusing because I feel like, oh, I definitely made a brush entry for this tile. I did, but in another tile set. So. Fucking absolutely owned.
Actually did one thing very nicely. Basically, the way I implemented tooltips is you just fucking write tooltip here. So neat. Oh, I guess it doesn't work.
Were you just about to tell yourself that you did a great job and then it didn't work?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought I heard.
Oh, it's because somehow this moved. Somehow a line was moved.
Alright, save that one. Now I get to see if this will even work here. Oh my god. I am gonna miss placing town center markers everywhere, to be honest, in the terrain.
Oh, well, we will have those. Oh, I guess we're not really because of. I mean, we could. Depends. I mean, depends how we design stuff because I assume we'll just use unbuildable terrain for
Yeah.
like marking where you want it to be placed and where you don't. And then with the work I'm doing right now with the nav meshes, we'll be able to place doodads off grid. Actually, will be really nice for really anything. I don't know if we can get rain off grid though. Would be nice, but I mean,
I'm not too worried about
I'm
that
not
part.
sure.
I think if it's not aligned to the build grid and it's blocking, well, I guess you can just round up, right, or something. I don't even know what you would do. You'd round to the closest, so that it's not like, oh, it's 1 pixel into this tile, so that's unbuildable. But if it's
Yeah,
like,
I'll do some rounding. Yeah, that would work.
okay,
Does
well,
this
I
work
think,
out?
yeah. I mean, I don't know how. Can you copy and paste that line to a second line so I can see what it looks like when you have, yeah, a big one?
Oh, fun.
Absolutely. I mean, if I have to write like \n or whatever, that's fine. Good one.
Yeah, it's because I would want the white space to only wrap when there's. Oh, I know what it is. Actually, it's super easy. On new lines, correct, new lines, description. It's because I have to manually convert them to be. No
Absolutely.
way, smashed.
You've been BR'd, homie.
That is BS. Honestly.
BS for BR. Yeah, there probably does need to be new line support, I think. But...
Well, the problem is this is using CSS. Line break. Strict. Where's Dan?
I like how I have this file here in this folder, but it was never added to the thing. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Makes so much sense. Okay. In that case.
Chinese.
Oh, ni hao. Close that. Okay. Stupid.
Not useful.
How did you know?
I don't know, because the problem is this content is set by CSS, and apparently CSS can't do BRs nor new lines correctly. Content, CSS content, new line.
Websites are goofy.
They are.
The real epic stream is gonna be when you fucking fix Python modding suite on stream. Got him. Yeah, now I gotta mark this shit as unbuildable. Oh my goodness. Well, I should have expected that, I think. Get over here. It's not real. That feels not real. I guess it is real. Alright, let me close this then.
Dance aids.
Why, yes. That sound can only mean one thing.
Hot pink.
No?
Nice color.
Yeah, dude. It's the color of my skirt. What? Oh. Oh, wait. No. What the fuck?
N.
N. No. It's over. I have to do. Oh. 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 Never mind. I'm fucking saved. Jesus wept, but I saved. Alright, that's good enough, I guess. Yeah. No, that's the one. Holy shit, dude. What a godlike performance. Okay. I gotta do this. I left Photoshop open overnight when I started trying to use it earlier today. It took exactly 3 seconds for it to even start drawing a rectangle. So that's how I knew I fucked up. Alrighty then. Yeah, it's actually pretty slick. That looks alright. I guess this game is in total hogwash. It is kind of total hogwash. Give them an inch and they'll take a dad. I still can't believe I actually casted a game where some dude's name was Dad. Like, what the fuck?
Did you? Was there something new recently?
The Counter-Strike Global Offensive player named DadT, D-A-D-T-E, and obviously I just called him Dad the whole time.
Yeah.
And there was a point. I mean, most of the time he was a shit player, so I got to say stuff like, Dad's really letting the team down. But for the most of the time, I was just, or one of the times on Anubis, he pulled off the surprise 3K on a site hold, and I was like, and this is Dad's bomb site. So that was probably the highlight. I was gonna make speaking of highlight, I was gonna make like a highlight reel of all of those casts, all of those calls, but I downloaded the video and it was like 27 gigabytes, and I was like, well, I actually like my hard drive space, so never mind, and deleted it. It was like a 10-hour broadcast because it was a best of 3 earlier. Also known as dumb. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. It's too, honestly, Vic, it's really too bad you weren't here in like the 2012, 2011 era of StarCraft content. You really would have shat yourself if you saw some of the projects I was working on back then. It was total insanity.
Well, just don't search for my maps in StarCraft 2 Arcade. I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, I'm not saying they were any good, the stuff I was working on back then, but what I mean to
Well,
say
my
is,
things weren't coherent at all. I just had fun with triggers, that's all.
yeah. Well, my fun was more psychotic and schizophrenic than that, but that's okay. All right. Not bad, not bad. Not bad.
No, Dad.
Dead Todd, dead Todd, dead Todd. All right, that looks pretty nice.
Does that work?
Sure. What happens if they're different line lengths? Here, I guess I'll write something and you can paste it or something. Are those? Oh yeah, they're just manually indented. Okay.
Oh, that's our branches, actually.
Yeah, you don't have the latest files, so that's awkward. You're probably gonna want to reset and pull because your files.
Yeah,
are
that's what I'm
different.
doing.
Yeah. That one's fine.
So you can just repaste here.
Yeah. The other ones, though, I enabled the melee tech tree, as you can see. So.
Actually, if we had a unified dev file, like I was saying, then we wouldn't even need to split them by data type, and we could just split them by like race or something, or like however
Yeah.
convenient it is for the designer, right?
Right.
Could be nice. Making done. Although this is definitely not a critical feature, so.
So you can try pasting that for the description of the Orion Imperium.
Yeah, I think it is to not set to not automatically wrap, so that might be awkward. Should we format it differently or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure about how we would automatically go about defining a constraint.
Well, since this is static, I would just define it like. I mean, this probably not necessary, and then it just works, right? Not sure.
I don't know. I was thinking you would have it be, yeah, I don't know. You definitely want the tagline to be as small as, like the tagline. I don't know. I almost feel like the tagline could be formatted slightly differently. Like we could wrap it in bold or italics. The tagline being the first line.
I
But
see.
I'm not sure. But it might not. That might already be too much info. You know what I mean? Like maybe we should just.
Think, like HTML just works here.
Yeah, I figured it probably would. Imagine
And
my
it
evil
should, but you
little
never
monkey.
know in web dev. Yeah, it does. So you can just format it as you see fit.
Oh yeah, I meant to. You can delete it at the end of that sentence. That's me being dummy. There you go.
Did I have a weird double click issue with my mouse? I have a bad luck for mouses. I had to replace them very often. But basically, when I release a button, it sometimes will click the left button.
Classic.
It's really not that great. You can imagine. But yeah, I don't know. Should we do something here, or what do you think?
I don't know if it's that big of a deal. Let me see. So maybe we just go with taglines, and then that gives you the cliff notes of what the faction is, right? Like it's a challenge for the writer to make sure that their factions are set up properly. I still feel like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe as part of the quick links, there's a campaigns link in the CMBW quick links, but maybe there could also be a link there that would resolve some of this issue. I don't yet know for sure, but I think it's probably fine if we just do taglines, and then I don't need them to be formatted at all. So you can get rid of the style tags, and it'll just be that.
Yeah, sure. Make the backgrounds a bit too dark.
All right, we're getting somewhere, boys.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll pull side now.
Hell yeah!
Free. I love the folder free.
Oh, that's a good folder. You can delete that.
Wonder what that was.
Well, if you go to CMVW and then you go to where is it? Yeah, you go to sites. You can go to campaign, and then go to Crescillion. Yeah, 3. So for
Why
a
is
while it
Butcher's
was in,
Ballad twice here?
probably one of them is old and didn't get culled somehow. Let me take a look here real quick. I go to sites, campaign. Oh, one of them has the apostrophe. I actually don't know which one is more recent than the other. Which one do I have on my... So I only have one in my thing here, so... Yeah, so I think I tried... It wasn't working when I had the apostrophe in the file name because it wouldn't create the folder correctly or whatever, so... That must be what that was. So you can delete the one that has the apostrophe.
It was in campaigns. Okay. All side.
No, you. Alright. Yeah, that should still work if we go to the website for that. I will confirm. Yeah. I hope you saw the post that I made earlier in Stellar Icon where I revealed that the inspiration for some runes that I drew was the manner in which I drizzled honey mustard onto sandwiches.
Solar
Absolutely.
Icon had a lot of messages being posted, so I didn't read them all, but... Oh.
How could you?
The first one almost looks like the Kali Linux logo.
The what?
Kali Linux logo. So this is like a hacker distro of Linux. This is how it looks.
Oh, I see.
Actually the third one is even more similar. Took some inspiration.
Yeah. Listen, what it means is you can find cool things no matter where you look.
Dude, why is this so much to the tongue? How is what?
Got
Oh,
him.
I see.
Yeah, you're wrapping it in the top links.
Yeah, I wrapped the nav link, but not the cornerstone. That is what was confusing me. And now cornerstones can just have a border instead of background. You.
Ooh.
How does this look? Oh, wait, we will make this to pixels still. Okay.
I feel like there could, like, either it needs to pop more or it needs to not be there. I don't know. But we can leave it as it is for now. Well, it almost feels like maybe within that outline should be a slightly darker border background or something. Like the panel intensity inside that outline should be slightly more opaque.
To dimensionize by a little bit. I don't know. Maybe what we want is brighter. Although maybe we just do what's done here. What is this doing? I don't remember. This is 0025 and it's actually, wait, this is brighter? No. Yeah, how much is the style on the bottom now?
Very nice.
Do I wonder... They wanted to standardize the border color, but maybe it should be a bit brighter. So this is some box shadow that I do sometimes, but not other times. Let's just add it to the race panel for now. Okay. That doesn't look bad, I don't think. Although maybe the spacing
have no
here should be
time
uniform.
to waste. IMO.
Yeah. Those taglines are pretty fitting. I thought they were nice. Because like this is like really like for example here this is almost like epic, right? And then you also have like this complementary thing here that is like I don't even know how to call it, but it's like a different style of text.
Well, the tagline gives you, so like the name is supposed to set the scene or the tone, and the tagline is like you say, complementary. So it's supposed to add some sort of attribute or maximize some sort of attribute. I was thinking about this as a subject in general for presenting information to an audience or players or whatever. I have to look this up because I want to know what there. I swear subversive meant something different than how people have been using it. Where it doesn't look like it's the case though. Maybe I was thinking of some word that was like basically a term that meant something is multi-layered or does multiple things. And it's not
Multifaceted.
subtlety. Yeah, but it's like a word that I'm pretty sure began with S and meant something specific. Anyway, the bottom line is that's the word whatever that term would mean, right? Layered or faceted, like you're saying. The point is, if you're doing multiple jobs with one like thing, then you're actually getting somewhere with that. Like that gives you basically there's a point where this is not true, but generally speaking, a rule of thumb is that the more things one thing does, like the more tasks are accomplished by a single like line of dialogue, for example, the more useful that line of dialogue is. And you don't necessarily want to over determine everything, like have every single thing in your project mean every single thing too. Like there's probably like a meaning overdose you can make, but in general, if you have a line of dialogue, like the baseline, it needs to do one thing at least, and that one thing could be exposition or it could communicate like
Well,
information
there's
that's
definitely that
relative to the
saying
gameplay
that
or whatever.
you, like there needs to be a reason that something is included, right?
Yes,
But then you can also have
justification.
many reasons. So there's like this additional cost benefit analysis you can do, right?
Yeah.
And determine what is the better choice or whatever. I feel like that's also very true for like just maintaining code, right? Where you not necessarily want to do code that only does one thing. Or like
What's probably true for everything is that there is some middle ground between hyper specialized and hyper generalist that you're going to want most of your things, most of the elements of anything, any product to exist within. And some things will be more general purpose, and some things will be more specialized. But generally speaking, like if you're writing a line of dialogue and it's only accomplishing one goal, then there's probably some missed opportunity there where you could have done more than one thing with that device. Because in the interest of respecting the time of whoever's consuming your product, whoever's engaging with the medium, you probably want to be able to do something that's multifaceted. And that's where I think you can get some pretty significant benefits or gains if you're able to do stuff like that at a regular basis. If your dialogue can regularly provide you with useful information, I just feel like that probably works out a lot better. So, what I'm getting at with the line of dialogue example is you might have something that tells the player something about the enemy that they're about to face, but ideally it doesn't just do that in terms of like this dialogue reflects the gameplay in some way or like the playstyle
yeah,
of the
that's
opponent.
just StarCraft 2,
It also
right?
does other things, right?
That's what StarCraft 2
Well,
did. It doesn't really expose
StarCraft 2
information.
doesn't have
Like,
enemies that actually have a playstyle, so I don't think you can say that. I mean, the maybe in some cases they might like explicitly state that there's a gimmick and the gimmick and describe the gimmick in a line of dialogue, but yeah, like
yeah,
whatever
but
they
the thing
decide to do,
about
they do
this,
one thing.
you just have those like dialogue, like even in storytelling sense, you just have those dialogues from like Amon, which is just like a personification of evil, right? And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just not interesting. You aren't learning new interesting stuff by just like the way they like say stuff. It's just like, oh, this evil personification says stuff in evil tone and wants to
Yeah,
destroy
but that's
everything. XD.
interchangeable with every other antagonist that you have in the
Yeah, it's
entire
like the
story, right?
most
Like,
generic thing they could have done.
but Amon is identical in writing as like Kerrigan's evil dialogue when you're fighting her or whatever, or Mengsk's
Yeah,
evil
yeah,
dialogue.
sure.
You know, like you'll never win, you can't beat me, I'm going to kill you. You know, like it's all the same, slightly rehashed. And in a sense, you do want to obviously filter whatever your goal is through the mouthpiece that is speaking it, right? So you want like if your goal is to communicate certain gameplay information, but you're using like an antagonist to do the communication instead of an ally of the protagonist or the protagonist themselves, then you got to filter it through what makes sense for that character. But there's a lot more that goes into that than like, oh, Amon says you can't beat me in a different way than Kerrigan does, because the goal shouldn't be to say you can't beat me. Like that's like the goal's fault, right? It's like the misplaced goal. So we'll see. I don't even know how easy that is to describe it. Yeah, Temin, what's up? He says in the chat, thoughts conveyed per words read. Like you can, I think it's possible that for dialogue, like the ceiling is a lot higher than it is for like a line of code in programming or like a function in programming, right? It's like it's probably easier to say, let's make this line of dialogue do like 10 different things and be really chock full of things that you can sit down and think about and analyze. It's probably easier to do that with lines of dialogue than it is to have like an overdetermined function in a program. But anyway, either way, like I think as a general rule of thumb, it works out pretty well. Like I would just describe it as if you have a line of dialogue, or if you have like, even like I'm working on this map, and in the map you start
Yeah, I
off.
think the code analogy might be difficult to square.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if there's 100% correlation basically, but when I'm working on this map, I'm starting you off in this like broken ass ramshackle part of town, and you're this upstart faction trying to usurp a government, like fed up with the status quo. And as you get deeper into the map, into enemy territory, like the area is going to get nicer and nicer, and there will be more accoutrements, and there will be like these little areas with parks and trees and grass, and it's going to look really nice and well kept and fancy buildings and stuff, and shit's not going to be like broken down or whatever. And like that, there's like okay, on the one hand, that's accomplishing orientation of where you are on the map relative to like where you were before. So it's like an area that looks different. You know, this isn't where I just came from. But on the other hand, it's also establishing a theme. Like you're literally fighting out of the gutter, so to speak, and into a more highfalutin part of town. And that's where your enemies are located. And what does that say about that? Like, you don't have to go super fucking deep on the thematics to understand that that's happening, right? It's like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. Another example would be something as simple as like communicating that the time has passed by starting you off at night, and then the mission ends with the sun rising or something. You know, like that could be. That could
I feel
be
like
also
one strong feature of defining a theme is when you then deviate. That's very noticeable, right? So if you have like a jungle theme, but then you go further and it's like more destroyed or whatever, you will notice that, right? And that conveys a story.
The contrast helps to underline that something is actually worth paying attention to. Yeah, for sure. And just also like, you know, the early areas are probably going to be very claustrophobic and tight, and then like there will be more open courtyards and stuff in the fancy place, right? It's like another thing, like maybe that's more specific of a theme that I'm exploring. Either way, regardless of whether or not people pay attention to it, I think there's value in exploring that kind of thing. So
they're talking about courtyards and pathways made me think that it will be really epic when in Antikythera, like a set of pathways will converge to a courtyard over the time of the game, because it will just be destroyed so much that it will like break passages or whatever. Could be really cool.
I mean, something that I had planned in the early designs of some of the missions for Xibalba, for Cosmotic Retail, was in order to deploy the big Ansifi armor, you would need to actually clear out a bunch of cliffs and stuff that were small, blocking some passageways and creating these tight choke points. It's like, okay, well, if you feel like deploying this big stuff that you're kind of used to deploying by now because you're 2 missions into the campaign, like, all right, it's time to clear the way, right? So I don't know exactly how that'll work out, but it's kind of neat. As an idea, I really like the idea of you know, RTS developers have this long history of trying to crowbar in the functionality of terrain. Like we saw that with, I'm forgetting the name of the game, but it was some shitty game that was even worse than Warcraft 3. It involved you sending men to become women at the brothel. I can't remember what it was called.
What?
It was what's it called? It's Battle Realms. There you go. I remembered it. So Battle Realms is like that, where they have these boulders in the tutorial that you use your Chinamen to like kick into buildings and stuff. I don't know what's going on there. Oh yeah, the other thing is that they have rice fields, and that's how they get food and as a resource. Like ricist game, I think. But beyond all of the stupid stuff, there's a real silly undertone with that. But then, like in Armies of Exego, I think it's the first mission you past the tutorial or whatever, you can like kick a boulder down onto enemies as well. And it's like basically RTS developers have this long and illustrious history of trying to make terrain a big part of the game, but it's all these gimmicked sections like the lava rising in this one mission, and like it doesn't actually feel like an organic element. Because
I remember a mission in Age of Empires 3 where you were like fighting Russians in like some snowy terrain, and there were like passageways around the mountains or whatever, and they wanted to make it like, oh, you have this advantage, you're like this very positional thing, and you can like collapse those rocks, whatever. But actually, it was like super, like it felt super scripted, basically, right?
Yeah,
especially that they were
it's not a dynamic
units.
event. It's just a gimmick, so it's not something you can engage with whenever you want in a number of different ways, depending on the mission. It's like, oh, this one mission.
It's a one-off.
Yeah.
So
it's like a tech demo almost. It doesn't even. It's not like representative of a well-articulated aspect of a game. So that's how I feel about that stuff anyway. But I would also suggest that there's a fair amount of Like, it feels to me like there's this, like, there are these ideas that people have that are like, wouldn't it be so cool if, and it always ends up terminating in some idea that maybe it would be cool, but it comes at the cost of consistency and of your ability as a player to translate your skills from one mission to the next. And I guess what I'm trying to say is it's really embarrassing that mainstream AAA RTS developers make the same mistakes as fucking Metathron with flame knives. And that's just sad. Like, come on, bro. I mean, I guess on the one hand, StarCraft 2 micro missions don't involve you stepping on a beacon or whatever to change your equipment, but that's only because Metathron didn't want to mod very extensively, so
Mm.
whatever. Can't wait for the stupid micro missions people make in Antikythera, honestly. Wait, how did that even happen? Oh no, that's correct. I have to think about here's something that you can work on the web dev side, Veek. I
Okay.
think it's probably a good idea if we have the last updated thing just automatically tracked. I don't think it's a great idea to keep manually updating that on every page. So I would recommend that on the website it ends up in like the top right somewhere or whatever, or maybe beneath the nav bar or something. Like you, the
Which
top left nav
what even
bar.
has that?
You can look at any of the campaign planning documents or whatever. If you go to Crescilient or anything like that. So, like, that's probably not even true. Actually, that has been updated since then, but I just forget to edit it. Is like the main issue. So, being able to just have that maybe in the top right, justified to the right. I guess that might interfere with
Yeah, I
nav,
don't know
considering
exactly
how
how
big
to
that is.
do that without like a data-driven solution, honestly. There's like some PHP trick, but it wasn't reliable. We tried it already. It was out updating because of Git, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that's because the web dev creation thing recreates the file, so
Oh yeah.
that would never, no trick would work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's actually
I
bloating
mean
the
that
Git
has to be done
repo
in
pretty massively. So.
Antikythera. And it would have to read the last written of the document of the YAML file, I guess.
The markdown file, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think it should still do that anyway because it's pretty stupid that right now we have the entire website being re-uploaded to Git every single time we make a one, like as simple as one character change. It's bloating the repo quite a bit probably. So
It's
eventually,
not because
well, every single file gets uploaded when I commit. So
so dumb. Is it I think it what wait, what? Why? Is it really just updating the metadata?
I don't know
Well,
what
I
it's
don't know.
doing. It
Not sure.
recreates the whole file, so like every file gets recreated, right? So we need to update the way that Antikythera handles the actual generation of the files based on something.
Well, the WebGen thing is kind of sinking ship, but not sure. There is an like low hanging fruit. Uh,
Yeah, I mean the low tech solution is what we already have, basically. So.
I just thought that ideally I would just write my HTML server that like a custom HTML server that generates files automatically from a custom format or something. That would be the sanest option, but I don't actually even know. It's
That sounds like
everything is a
work.
lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not possible to be done anytime soon, then whatever. But I was thinking that it would make some sense.
Yeah, I get that. It would be nice, but holy fuck! What? What's this?
You have some sillies. Those are supposed to be collapsible boxes, and they look completely different than they used to.
Oh. Oh, I have a typo in Antikythera. I corrected it locally, but not in Antikythera, so.
Got him. Well,
This was like a 1-day shitty one pass, no lexing parser that I did, and it's really
I don't remember
has
this
to be
being
redone.
broken for so long, though.
No, it's a recent change. I corrected the typo on my most recent web dev stream. It's collapsible should be collapsible.
Oh, I see, with an I.
I think it's this, right?
It's Ibble instead of Able, yeah. Oh, and I guess I have to update some of this anyway, because we have... Let me go here. In-game unit extender. So entity extenders.
Can you believe that our year is free? 2023.
Yeah, I can believe the passage of time, actually. Oh, that's something else I was thinking about recently. I've been pretty loath to touch a lot of this AI stuff, but there was some video I saw by Corridor Digital where they recorded voiceover and they fed it to some program that then took their voiceover performance and like changed it as if somebody else was speaking. They were using like celebrities and shit. I actually played around with something like that, but it was this stupid microtransaction thing where you had to like buy more time with the service or whatever. So I didn't
This,
bother
I
investigating.
think.
Yeah, it was that. I got Jordan Peterson to say Toddcasts, so that was cool. But it wasn't very good in terms of quality. Like I wouldn't
Yeah, the
really be able to
quality
use
is
it.
aids and it's also a microtransaction.
Yeah.
I was very
So
unhappy to find that out because that looked like something really cool. At
well,
least to mess
basically
around with, right?
what I've always thought and the way that I've always presented it when I get other people to do voice acting for my projects is I say, like, listen, I literally know exactly how I want this delivered. I have a vision in my head of what I need. Like, that's not to say that they can't come up with their own delivery that they might think is better or more fitting for the character, but a lot of the times they weren't super involved in the process. So I was coming into the whole shebang by saying, hey, I just need you to use your voice. Like I need to say this stuff in your voice. That's basically what I need. And so that's like perfect if I can get some AI to reintegrate or whatever the term would be. Where they take what I do and then they just recast it basically. But I don't know how feasible that is because the audio quality of the one thing I did try, it was horrible and microtransaction. But I don't know if there's some alternative to that. Like now I have to think about like AI voice synthesis. Is that it, or there's some word that would be like
Synthesis, yeah, I think.
recast? Oh, voice changer maybe. Let's see. There's something called Koei Recast. Well, the one example they have of Mark Zuckerberg being a woman is not very compelling. It's terrible quality, so hopefully it's not awful. You need at least 2 gigabytes of RAM to run this program. Well, actually, that kind of makes sense if they're using like if the AI is running off of your program, I guess. Yeah, the biggest problem is that all of these programs, like the actual quality of the output voice file or audio file is usually really low bitrate, really low quality. Even if it's like reasonable bitrate, it still ends up being bad. So let's see what they say here.
Oh.
They also have a pricing thing. Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna take all my data, you piece of shit. All right, let's see here. Oh,
Yeah,
the
Digital when
premium
something costs money
voices.
and also has data collection and microtransactions and something.
Wait, what
Just
does?
everything.
Well, there's what the fuck? Dude, you need to pay $25 a month for commercial use. Check that out. Well, whatever. Let's see what we got here. I don't know what that is. Yes, give me that. I forgot my audio device is 12 A's, by the way. Capital A's for ah. My name is Dad. Dude, what the fuck? That guy didn't even talk. I mean, he did talk, but it wasn't very good. How do I download this? Or not download? It's literally running on my computer, so... I guess what I actually unironically need to do... Oh, but I can't do that because of my fucking audio monitoring setup. Well, that's stupid. I guess I probably can do it, but it's like really weird. I have to do some virtual audio cable shit to actually record this, so that's stupid. And also, of course, the audio quality wasn't very good, so... So I'll say AI voice. What do we got? Changer. Let's see. No, not that. That's AIDS. You know, it's really sad when they market like the thing saying this was the original audio file created by a human, and I listen to it. I'm like, no, that sounds pretty fucking artificial. Actually, I think you guys are probably lying. How many people are human anymore?
Probably not Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, fucking alien piece of fucking lizard.
Which Xibalba race is he? Or rather, Regency.
Oros, probably, since they have the whole electricity thing and he's a tech guy. And they're also lizards. It makes a lot of sense. He's a goddamn lizard, Tony. A fucking lizard, I say. He's made of lizard. Let's see what that came out as. What the fuck? What the hell? Why do they market this guy as like a black voice when he just sounds like a less interested me? Let's see. Honestly, these are not as bad, but like in terms of audio quality, still not superb. But maybe I can do something with this. Let's see what it looks like when I actually open it up. Yeah, this is pretty autistic, but whatever. Also, the white noise is like corrupted or something. I don't know what's going on there. He is made a lizard, though. Having fun watching MOBAs break?
No, I just wanted to see if there's something of value in Dota 2 pathfinding, but I actually don't know how it works. Like, I don't know if it's any good.
I hope it was helpful.
It wasn't.
You know what I mean? The hell, dude?
There is something called wall tracing, and it's not described anywhere. There's like a repo where someone tried to use it, but he says that path takes like the wall tracing part takes less than 0.2 milliseconds, which is actually super fucking slow, even though he's very fast.
They're a bunch of goobers. I probably shouldn't have done it that way. Let's see. The problem is they always come out sounding so lobotomized, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't the most emotive, I guess. But
They were just hit by a vulture. It happens to everyone.
especially your workers. Oh, shit! Well, anyway, you can check Stellar Icon if you want to listen to fucking Lizard Tony.
Lizard.
He's a goddamn lizard, Tony. A fucking lizard, I say. He's made of lizard.
What is this voice, anyways?
Some woman. It's described as cute, sweet, pleasant, young female voice. And of course,
I don't know
edited
if
it.
it's pleasant. It sounds like Tassadar or something.
Got him. Yeah, that's the other thing is that these voices often don't survive a lot of edits. Not that I even really do a lot of edits, but the guy's voice was way worse. Let me see if I can fire that one up real quick.
Aspirants.
What?
Aspirants. Do you plan to do more for the factions?
All the
or
factions
is
need
this...
more stuff, yeah. I mean, I was thinking that basically every production facility would have one unit different about it, is my current thinking. Which means that, like, barracks will probably, like, for the upstarts, you'll probably see the Savant get replaced on the barracks. So even though there's nothing at tier 1 that's different, it does mean that they still have something different from the barracks. But I'm not sure if that also survives. Like
You
I
said
don't
you
know how
wanted
they would
4
do it.
instead of N here, right?
Yeah. FOR. THREE.
You.
YOU. UUU. Dude, yeah, this guy sounds so lobotomized. What the fuck?
Should this be 2 lines, by the way? Like, should it actually fold like this?
I deliberately made it a new line, so.
Yeah, but is this styling correct? Is this intentional? Like, where it's...
Yeah, I hit enter after elsewhere. Put it on a new line. I did
Yeah,
the
but
same
this was
thing
the
if you look
intention,
at.
is what I'm asking.
Well, yeah. Why else would I hit enter?
I don't
If
know.
you look at the actual description, you'll see I deliberately made a new line.
Yeah, I know, but... As there's actually, like, a feature of YAML that you can use. It allows you to still keep the style, but, like, folded. I mean, not folded, whatever. Not rapid, but whatever.
Yeah, I wanted them to be separate so that it would be easier to read that they're two different points. Because
Right.
if it was just one run-on sentence, it would be awkward. It was like that earlier, and I deliberately changed it.
I see.
If you also want another little pet project, I recommend trying to fix it on mobile so it's not insanely big. Because that shit is silly.
I was saying it might be a bug for you, but it might also be web dev.
What'd you say?
I thought that maybe that was a bug for your setup or something, but it might also just be web dev.
Well,
Oh no, my whole phone froze. Oh, okay. Like froze for 10 seconds or something, completely.
check out Lizard Toonie.
Yeah. I feel like this would be a lot of work to make it work on mobile, honestly.
And it just needs the one font to be smaller, and then it's fine.
Well, I don't even know why it's so big. It's just
Yeah,
web
I
dev's
don't know
retarded.
either. I assume it's some class that's
He's
not
a goddamn
written or something.
lizard, Tony. A fucking lizard, I say. He's made of lizard.
Well. I mean, what I can probably do... I mean, this is like some auto styling, is scanning that the browser does, that you don't
Yeah.
have much control of.
Well, everything else is working fine, so I think whatever.
I think the
there
problem
just
is
doesn't have an
because
override.
everything else is in pixels, but pixels actually not supposed to be used. You're supposed to use RAMs. Because pixels don't scale properly.
Yeah.
So everything's super small down the bottom, but this is like auto scaled or something. One thing I should for sure do is cornerstone. Just say cornerstones. Anything in cornerstones would have a flex basis of 100%, I think. Or maybe all I say is just flex direction, column. Wait, it folds nicely. One super annoying thing on phone is that you can't actually reset the style cache, so it's just, I will never see the updated version.
That is really weird.
Yeah, it's because browsers cache stuff because everything's so fucking small
Yeah.
and it has to be cached, but... How many pixel instances? Oh my god. Would be here all day. Oh, I almost forgot. I recently bought a domain. I should probably buy a website hosting too. Eventually. Although domains are pretty cheap, so I just decided to reserve it for myself.
What was the domain?
Just vic7.com. Might be useful for when I need to like have a portfolio or something. Or maybe just like for some write-ups or whatever. Although maybe Substack is what I would use. I don't know.
Well, you can use your own domain for Substack. Like, if you go to computerenhance.com, I'm pretty sure it takes you.
Yeah.
Is it .com? Yeah, it takes you to Substack. So you can just do that if you wanted to use your Substack for that.
Yeah. Although for Substack, I'd probably just name it actually something and not my name, but maybe.
Your name is 7. Your number is Vic.
You. We have code. No way.
You.
I don't know. Well, by the way.
Huh, 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 huh.
Is there something related to cornerstones that we still need to do? Is it everything? will be-
Ideally, it would show up on units that reflected them, but I have no real idea how to incorporate that elegantly to the page.
Do we have race as? If you already store redundantly the race of the unit on the data, that would be easy. Wait,
We don't, but I can do that. Oh no, I think we do. Yeah, we have to on the unit itself.
Yeah, always. Yeah, that's fine. I think. Okay. So now, can you give me an example? So I guess Ahmed is what I would like. Harakan.
Harakan. H. You're scrolling way past H.
I'm just tired. Okay, cornerstones.
Yeah, then you would get rid of the abilities section, right? So...
Yeah, sure. Do we just do this?
Yeah. I would maybe even put cornerstones underneath
We
abilities or
really
maybe
did.
above abilities.
So dumb. Wait, do
Yeah,
you
that's
say where I should?
above abilities, beneath weapons in this case. Maybe it should. I don't know if it makes sense to be there or not. I was thinking that the cornerstone is probably more important than the abilities. But maybe it is better. I don't know where exactly you would want to place it. I feel like it could just still be under abilities, but be marked as a cornerstone through some other styling. I don't know though.
I just reuse the style that I have. I think.
Okay.
At least for now, maybe we change
Yeah,
our mind. Then.
it'll need to be tooled and stuff.
I hate that I used to generate prefix instead of just print, but whatever. Oh, things so awful.
Caw.
You?
I don't even know what you said, but caw.
I said this thing is so awful. Ordinary stones? Hmm. You.
You.
Works.
Now that is pretty epic. I mean, we should probably check out what it looks like when you have multiple passives. So I imagine like if you plug that cornerstone into, I guess you can do that too. I was thinking when you plug the cornerstone into something else, you'll
This
see
is
that.
kind of fucked.
Well, if there's two back to back, but the text size is also completely different, right? So that's like the initial thing that makes me think it was. But maybe it's fine because they're like two different things or whatever.
Well, this is just following the style of cornerstones in the main page, so.
Yeah, but it's probably fine that it does that, or at least looks different in general, since a cornerstone is kind of different than an intrinsic behavior that's unique to the unit. I still feel like cornerstones should be sorted above abilities, but I don't know how simple that is. Or if that would even really look that good.
I'll try in a sec.
What an autistic fucking thing.
Does that look better?
Well, them probably being above abilities makes the most sense, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah, they also formatted it differently. You know, there's a list more like more
Yeah,
horizontally.
but what I mean is now it's also above weapons instead of it being part of that middle panel. Like it's almost its own thing that should be separated by its own header now, but its own horizontal line rather. But whether that would look as good as them just being above abilities, I'm not sure.
I like how my changes and not trying the other way. That's how it looks.
Yeah, it's probably better. I mean, most of the time it's not going to look like that, right? So, like, it won't be that tall of a case. In fact, I'm not sure if there's any one unit that actually has multiple cornerstones. Oh, I guess that's not true. The Matador has a polywood adhesive and Masters of None, but then they'll only have one ability listed as Cinder Servos, so it should still work out fine when I plug that in. So you're gonna want to clear the Hurakan file that you edited, and then commit that probably.
Hmm. Okay. Push that again. Okay, I think that's it for the stream, though.
All right. I got to do my own one, working on some more smashes anyway. So
Yeah.
I'll be doing something later.
Yeah, so I think I'll just stream tomorrow, and I don't yet know what I will do. I might try to do constraint edges. That would be nice to be done with, because then I can do pop finding along the nav mesh, but I'm not sure. Like I feel like I just need some time to watch the videos and think about
Yeah,
it,
and process
because
all of that.
yeah.
So.
It's Mafia, so although I think I'm sort of understanding what I'm supposed to do with the math. I already understood how the constraint edge algorithm is supposed to work. It's just I was trying to figure out the math for the helper functions and whatnot. So okay,
All right.
yeah, I'll stream something tomorrow, and that's it for today. So
Good job keeping the streak going, and thanks for your.
it's
Red Dead
actually
work.
now 1 month and 5 days or 6 days or something. So it's actually pretty
11 months to
respectable.
go, bro.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh
Yeah,
wait, I
so
just.
thanks,
Hold
Steven,
on,
for
hold
watching.
on.
And
I have to see. Okay, yeah, never mind. False alarm. I refreshed, but I had to control F5. Something was really broken until I did that. All right, good stuff then. Now go ahead
Yeah.
and do your outro as you were planning.
yeah, so that's it.